Okay, then I will begin.
ॐ जगदीश्वर सदाभिचिन्मय जगदीश्वर वन्दे जगदीश्वर वन्दे ॐ परिपूजित परात्मरात्मा परात्मरात्मा अनवरदं वन्दे अनवरदं वन्दे अनवरदं वन्दे ॐ जगदीश्वर सदाभिचिन्मय जगदीश्वर वन्दे जगदीश्वर वन्दे
Okay, a warm good morning to all of you. Today seems to be a very pleasant day. With the rains are all subsided for the time being. So I think we can move on to the next chapter of the second module. That is the last chapter of the second module. It is related to vocabulary building. So what do we mean by vocabulary? What is vocabulary? Anybody has any idea on what is vocabulary?
കുറേ വേർഡ്സ് യൂസ് ചെയ്യണ ഒരു അങ്ങനെയല്ലേ പറയാ സാർ?
Yes, yes. Yes, sure, that is right. Vocabulary is the collection of words that you have in your repertoire, in your memory, in your brain, in your mind. So that is vocabulary. So why is it important to develop a good vocabulary, a good collection of words? Is that words are the building blocks of language. അതാണ് അതിൻ്റെ അടിസ്ഥാന കാരണം. Like we have bricks which are the building blocks of a building. ഒരു ബിൽഡിംഗ് പണിയണമെങ്കിൽ അതിന് ബ്രിക്സ് ആണ് അതിൻ്റെ ബിൽഡിംഗ് ബ്ലോക്സ്. അതുപോലെ വേർഡ്സ് ആർ ദ ബിൽഡിംഗ് ബ്ലോക്സ് ഓഫ് ലാംഗ്വേജ്. So if we have a good collection of words and if we have a good understanding of the different building blocks, then we will have a good vocabulary. We should understand and differentiate different kinds of things. For example, when you build a building, you cannot build a building alone only with bricks. You need wood, you need steel, you need different things to build a building. Like that, we need different categories of words, different kinds of building blocks to create language. അപ്പോൾ ഭാഷ ഉണ്ടാകാനായിട്ടുള്ള അടിസ്ഥാനമായിട്ടുള്ള ചില ഘടകങ്ങളുണ്ട്. ഈ ഘടകങ്ങളാണ് വാക്കുകൾ. ഈ വാക്കുകൾ പലതരത്തിലുള്ളതുണ്ട്. So they are called parts of speech. Like you have parts of a building, you have parts of the body, human body. Like that, you have parts of language. Each part has a different function. Like you have human body, different parts, eyes, ears, nose. മൊത്തം കണ്ണായിട്ടൊരു ബോഡി ഉണ്ടാവാൻ പറ്റും, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മൊത്തം ഇയേഴ്സ് ആയിട്ടൊരു ബോഡി ഉണ്ടാവാൻ പറ്റും. ഇറ്റ് ഇസ് നോട്ട് പോസിബിൾ. യു നീഡ് ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് കൈൻഡ്സ് ഓഫ് പാർട്സ്, ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് പാർട്സ് ടു ക്രിയേറ്റ് ദ ഹോൾ. Similarly, in language, we need different kinds of words to create language. So it is very easy if you understand the different parts, the different categories of words. Like you have eyes, nose, ears, throat, digestive system, etc. for the body part. They are the different parts of the body. Similarly, you have just 8 parts of speech. So it is very easy to understand. That is, these 8 parts in different combinations form language utterances. ഭാഷ എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് സൃഷ്ടിക്കപ്പെടുന്നത് ഈ 8 ഘടകങ്ങൾ പല രീതിയിൽ പല സമയത്ത് യോജിപ്പിക്കുമ്പോഴാണ്. ഒരേ രീതിയിലുള്ള വാക്കുകൾ വെച്ച് മാത്രം നമുക്ക് ഭാഷ ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ പറ്റില്ല. Just as I said, you cannot have a body with only eyes. You cannot have a body with only ears. You cannot have a body with only teeth. We need different kinds of parts to create the body. Similarly, you need different parts of words, different kinds of words to create language. What are those different kinds of words? To say it very easily, there are just 8 kinds of words. Which are those 8 kinds of words? And what are their functions? And that is what we will be learning in this chapter, in this module. This is the last chapter of the second module. It is chapter 4. So the first category of the 8 parts of speech is nouns. So this is something which we have discussed earlier also, that is the different parts of speech. The first category is nouns. Can you tell what are the other categories? 8 ഉണ്ട്. അതിൽ ഒരെണ്ണം നൗണാണ്. ബാക്കിയുള്ള 7 ഏതൊക്കെയാണെന്ന് അറിയാം? Yes, when you mention noun, you can immediately mention pronoun. Okay, then adjective, verb, adverb. Yes. That is right. Then, no, how many you had? You had noun, you had pronoun, you had verb, adjective. Yes. Conjunction, interjection. 2 more. Preposition and 1 more. പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട ഒരെണ്ണം വിട്ടുപോയി. നൗൺ പറയുമ്പോൾ പറയേണ്ട ഒരെണ്ണം വിട്ടുപോയി. ആ പാർട്ട് ഓഫ് സ്പീച്ച് ഇല്ലാതെ ലാംഗ്വേജ് ഒരു സെൻറ്റൻസ് ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. ഡിഫിക്കൽട്ട് ടു ഹാവ് എ സെൻറ്റൻസ് വിത്തൗട്ട് ദാറ്റ് പാർട്ട് ഓഫ് സ്പീച്ച്. ഏതാണത്? ലൈക്ക് യു കനോട്ട് ഹാവ് എ ബിൽഡിംഗ് വിത്തൗട്ട് എ ബ്രിക്ക്. വി വെച്ച് തുടങ്ങുന്നത് begins with B. Verb, yes, it is verb. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ 8 പാർട്സ് ഓഫ് സ്പീച്ച് ആണുള്ളത്. നൗൺ, pronoun, adjective, verb, adverb, then conjunction, preposition, and interjection. So we have these 8 part of speech. അപ്പോൾ ഇതല്ലാതെ ഒരു വാക്ക്, ഇത് ഈ 8 പെടാത്തൊരു വാക്ക് ലാംഗ്വേജിൽ ഉണ്ടാവില്ല. Whatever word we use, in any context, in any situation, all these words will fall into any of these 8 categories. So that is the, so if we are thorough with these 8 categories of speech, language learning will not be very difficult for us, because we know the basics, because they are the basic building blocks of language. If we understand the differences and if we understand these 8 different parts of speech, language learning can be an easy task. So let us look at these different categories of words one by one. As we said, this is the first category, that is a noun. So noun, we have learned in our smaller classes that it is a naming word. It is a naming word. നാമപദം എന്ന് മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയും. എന്തിൻ്റെയൊക്കെ നാമം? It can be of things that you see, it can be of things that you cannot see. Okay? So it can be of people, places, things which you can see. That is, they are all concrete things. അതുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ അതിനെ കോൺക്രീറ്റ് നൗൺ എന്ന് പറയും. It can be of things which you cannot see. For example, happiness, love, courage, etc. are all abstract things. So they are called ideas, ആശയങ്ങൾ. So they are called abstract nouns. So they are further divided into two different categories: common nouns or proper nouns. So common nouns are, as the name indicate, they are noun words which are used commonly with people. For example, if I say boy, it can be any boy. But if I say John, it specifically refers to a particular person. So boy is a common noun and John is a proper noun. And I'm mentioning particular. So when I say polytechnic, it can be any polytechnic. But when I mention it is the Nedubuda Polytechnic, I am specifically mentioning a particular polytechnic. So that is a proper noun. Common noun can be any. Some examples are given there. Okay, the next category of nouns are called collective nouns. They are the nouns which are used with groups of people or things. That is, with another noun, you use this word. For example, I say that it is a jury of judges, a herd of sheep. That is, herd is the collective noun that is used for the common noun sheep, herd of sheep, flock of birds, family of people, fleet of ships, club of cards, class of students, and group of people. There are many other collective nouns also. For example, a bunch of grapes, a pack of cards, then a pack of wolves, wolves, wolves. And there are very interesting collective nouns also. The collective noun for fish, there are two collective nouns actually. For sheep, fish, fishes are called school of fish or shoal of fish. So that is a very interesting collective noun. And anybody knows what is the collective noun for lions? Lion, the collective noun is also very interesting. Each category of such animals have different collective nouns. ലയന്റെ കളക്റ്റീവ് നൗൺ എന്താണെന്നറിയാം?
സർ പ്രൈഡ് ആണോ?
Yes, Aisha, pride of lions. Pride of lions. So we have collective nouns for different categories. We have different collective nouns, which make it very interesting topic to learn also. Then we have some other kinds of nouns which are called compound nouns. Compound, as the name indicates, is joining together. Compound. നമ്മൾ കെമിസ്ട്രിയിലും പഠിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ട്. We have elements and compounds. അല്ലെ കെമിസ്ട്രിയിൽ എലിമെന്റ്സ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ യു കനോട്ട് ഫർദർ ഡിവൈഡ് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ ടു ഡിഫറെൻറ്റ് കാറ്റഗറീസ്. But you can join one element and another element together and create a compound. Like you have hydrogen and oxygen combining. There are two elements. Hydrogen is one element, oxygen is another element. These two elements are combined together to form a new compound, which is called water. So two atoms of hydrogen, that is one molecule of hydrogen, and one atom of oxygen, they join together to form H2O, that is water. So that is a compound. Water is a compound because it is a joining together of two different elements. Similarly, a compound noun is a noun which is a joining together of two different nouns to form a new noun. അപ്പോൾ ഹൈഡ്രജനും ഓക്സിജനും ജോയിൻ ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പിന്നെ വരുന്ന സാധനത്തിന് they do not have the properties of hydrogen or oxygen. They have a new property. എന്നതുപോലെ the joining together can create a new word which has a meaning totally different from the joining words. So it is a noun consisting of more than a single word. There can be separate words like social studies, physical education, dining room, etc. There can be, it can also be hyphenated words, hyphenated join ചെയ്ത വാക്കുകളാണ്. Or it can be simply joined together like blackboard or timetable. So they are all single words. So when you say school teacher, bookkeeper, landlord, headmaster, etc., they are combined words. So they are all compound nouns. Compound nouns can be joining of two or more words. For example, merry-go-round is a joining together of three words. Merry-go-round എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താണ് സാധനം? നമ്മൾ ഈ ഫെസ്റ്റിവൽസിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പാർക്കിലൊക്കെ പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഇങ്ങനെ കുട്ടികളൊരു ഇതിൽ സർക്കുലറായിട്ട് ഇങ്ങനെ പോകുന്നത് കാണാം. ജസ്റ്റ് ഒരു സെൻട്രൽ ആക്സിസിൽ നിർത്തിയിട്ട് ഒരു സാധനത്തിൽ ഒരു വട്ടത്തിൽ കറങ്ങുന്നതാണ് മെറി-ഗോ-റൗണ്ട്. So that is a game that children play in the park. So that is a compound noun. Okay, the next category of part of speech is pronoun. Pronoun is it has noun in it. So pro is something that works in the place of. For instance, in universities you have a vice chancellor and a pro vice chancellor. Pro vice chancellor is somebody below the vice chancellor who acts as the vice chancellor in the absence of the vice chancellor. So pronoun is a word which acts as a noun in the place of a noun instead of a noun. So what is the benefit of using a pronoun? You don't have to use the noun again and again in sentences if you have a pronoun for that word. For example, when I talk about the elephant, I can say that the elephant is the largest animal, the mammal on earth. And then I say it has a trunk and two tusks. So instead of repeating the elephant again, I have used it in the second sentence. The pronoun it helps me to avoid repeating the two words, the elephant. So here in these two sentences, that is, the elephant is the largest mammal on earth. The elephant is the antecedent, and it is the pronoun that is referring to this antecedent noun. That is, something that goes before is called an antecedent or precedent. Something that goes before the pronoun, that is the noun. So the elephant is the noun here, and it is the pronoun. So what is the benefit? It makes our writing clearer, smoother, and less awkward. കേൾക്കുമ്പോൾ ഒരു അസ്വാരസ്യം തോന്നുന്നതാണ് awkward. For example, if I say the elephant is the largest mammal on earth, the elephant has a trunk. വീണ്ടും elephant എന്ന് repeat ചെയ്യുന്നു. It doesn't sound good to the listener. So, to make the writing clear, smooth, and less awkward, we use pronouns. So, in the sentence, for example, they have given a sentence. Robert feels that he can win the race. Here, he is the pronoun. Here, instead of saying Robert feels that Robert can win the race, there is no need of repeating Robert in the sentence. So instead of Robert, it can be he can be used. He is the pronoun and Robert is the antecedent. So in English, there are several types of pronouns depending on the kind of people and the kind of things that are referred to. Personal pronouns are pronouns that refer to people and things. They are put into three categories. First person. So first person is the person who is speaking. I am the first person. You are the second person. And third person is he, she, John, anybody else is the third person. So in English, the first person is always I. The second person is always you. You can be singular and plural. So therefore, we say second person singular, second person plural. It's always you. For you in the English, it is refers to both singular and plural. It can be one person. It can be more than one person also. So that is the second person, and the third person can be anybody else other than I and you. All the other people who come into the picture other than I and you are referred to as the third person. Ayum, youum, allada varunnadellam third person. So there is a small table here which makes us very clear of which are these three categories. So all the words that refer to I is singular. The plural form ആവുമ്പോൾ we have. Similarly, all the words that refer to the second person is you. And all words that refer to the third person can be he, she, it, etc. So I, you, he, she, it. So this is the simple method of remembering it. I am the first person, you are the second person, he, she, or it is the third person. So these are all personal pronouns. There are several other kinds of pronouns. Reflexive pronouns is something that we discussed when we discussed in conversation, the conversation between Kannan and his wife. Reflexive pronouns are pronouns which are repeatedly used in the same sentence. For example, I did the work. I did the work is one sentence. If I write it again by adding a pronoun at the end, the pronoun that I have put at the end is called a reflexive pronoun. Reflexive means reflect, like a mirror reflects. എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഒരു കണ്ണാടി പ്രതിഫലിക്കുന്നത്, പ്രതിബിംബം കാണിക്കുന്നത്, that this word at the end acts as a mirror to the pronoun in the beginning or the noun in the beginning. That word is called a reflexive pronoun because it reflects the noun or the pronoun in the beginning. That is called a reflexive pronoun. Then there are relative pronouns. Relative pronouns are which relate to the noun in the beginning. Here, The word who is the relative pronoun which refers to the girl. ഏത് ഗേൾ ആണെന്നുള്ളത് പോയിന്റ് ഔട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ് ദിസ് ഹു. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഹു സാങ്. സോ the singing and the girl, or the song and the girl, are related to each other by this word who. Therefore, here who is a relative pronoun. Am I making myself clear? Is it clear to you? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So the same word can be used as a question word. Here, who is not a relative pronoun. Here, who is an interrogative pronoun. See, the same word can function differently in different places, in different situations. So, just because it is the same word, it need not have the same function. For example, you can use a brick to construct a building. You can use a brick also as a weapon to throw at somebody. So it is the same brick which acts differently, or which has different function in different situations. So here in the first sentence, this is the girl who sang. There, who is a relative pronoun, and in the second sentence, the beginning who is an interrogative pronoun. Interrogate means to ask questions. So this is all explained here. Here we have another pronoun here. This is the girl. This is also a pronoun. So this is also a pronoun. This pronoun is called a demonstrative pronoun. Indefinite pronoun. Anyone, everybody, someone, etc. are called indefinite, because it is not definite of what you are, who you are talking about. It can be anybody. Indefinite pronoun. Here is a huge table of indefinite pronouns. This is there in page 59 of the textbook. Take up page 59. You can see this. I think everybody has the PDF version of your textbook with you. I had sent you the textbook, so if you have any doubts on this, you can just refer to page 59. Here we have the list of all the indefinite pronouns. Why are they called indefinite? Because they do not refer to a specific person or thing. അതാരും ആവും, ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു പ്രത്യേക ആളെയോ ഒന്നും സൂചിപ്പിക്കാത്തത് കൊണ്ട് they are called indefinite pronouns. The next category of words are called adjectives. So what are adjectives? Adjectives are words which qualify a noun or a pronoun. For example, these sentences: interesting story. The word interesting qualifies a story. It adds more meaning to the story. Noun is given more or qualified more by the word interesting. Therefore, interesting is called adjective. So So recent article, recent is an adjective. Serve those is an adjective. $50, 50 is an adjective. Much space, much is an adjective. And look, here we have a group of 3 words. Can anyone recollect what are these 3 words? A and നമ്മൾ വേറൊരു പേര് പറയുമല്ലോ. Anyone? A and the. പിന്നെ നമ്മൾ പേര് പറയുന്നത് എന്താണ്? വേറൊരു പേര് പറയും. Yes, Bama, it is articles. Article എന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. The definite article എയും ആനും indefinite article ആണ്. But we refer to them as adjectives also. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ അതാണ് പറഞ്ഞത്, ഏത് നമ്മൾ ഈ 8 കാറ്റഗറിയിൽ ഏതെങ്കിലും വരും. Articles എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ articles are also basically adjectives. So therefore they are called demonstrative adjectives. അപ്പോൾ articlesന്റെ വേറൊരു പേരാണ് demonstrative adjectives. So this is something which we have to learn. They, depending on their function, they may have different names in different situations. For example, you are a student in college, but to a friend you are only a friend. To your parents you are their child. To your grandfather you are their grandchild. So depending upon their function, you are given different names in different situations. Similarly, these articles, they actually do the function of adjectives in sentences. For example, when I say the apple, I am speaking about a particular apple. So the there is a demonstrative adjective which refers to what apple am I talking about. So it is qualifying apple. When I say an apple, the an qualifies the kind of apple. It can be any apple. So it is an indefinite article. So these articles, whether indefinite or definite, they still come under the category of demonstrative adjectives. So articles are also adjectives. They are called demonstrative adjectives. So they are called articles or noun markers, but they are basically adjectives. Simply, plain and simple. Okay. So we, how are they used? We use a or an. A or an can be used interchangeably. It has the same meaning. But before consonant sounds, we use a, and before vowel sounds, we use an. So before apple, we use an, but before cat, we use a. But the meaning is the same. A and an have the same meaning. They are both indefinite articles. Okay. An adjective can come before or after the noun. So it is not necessary that always they come before the noun. For example, in this sentence, tired and hungry, campers reached the lodge. In that sentence, that is the third sentence in this example, tired, hungry, these two words are qualifying the campers. Okay, but look at the next sentence. There, the terms tired and hungry have come after campers. Still, it is referring to the campers. So it is required, it is not necessary that an adjective should always come before the noun. It can also come after a noun. Okay, there are several types of adjectives. Like you have different types of nouns, we have different types of adjectives also. A proper adjective is formed from a proper noun. For example, from the proper noun India, you have the proper adjective Indian. From Italy, we have Italian. From Hercules, you have Herculean. From Midas, you have Midas touch. From Canada, you have Canadian. So they are adjectives which are formed from a pre-existing proper noun. And a proper noun which is already there is modified, slightly modified. In some cases, it is not modified also. For example, there is no modification in Midas. When you talk about the Midas touch, it comes from a story. Have you heard of that story? Midas touch, it's a story. What is Midas touch? Does anyone know the story? The story of Midas. Who is Midas? ഉറങ്ങിപ്പോയോ എല്ലാവരും? Okay, so it is the story of a king called Midas who prayed to God. He wanted to become rich. So he prayed to God, and when God appeared before him, he said, whatever I touch, it should become into gold. It should turn into gold. So God blessed him, said, whatever you touch will become gold. So when immediately he felt very happy, so he became gold. Everything that he touched became gold. That is Midas touch. The problem is that whatever he touched becoming gold became a problem for him. That is, he uh, he was so happy. He went and touched his wife. His wife became gold. She became a statue. And he was hungry. He touched food. It became gold. So he again started praying to God to remove this quality from him. So that is Midas touch. So it has a negative impact also. So everything that you touch becoming gold is called a Midas touch. This is something, a kind of fairy tale kind of thing, just told in schools. We learn in schools these stories of Midas touch. If you search the net, also you can find the story. I think there is also a film by the same name. It's released in 1997. Better than somebody telling me maybe there is a story in the net also. Yes, it is. Okay, so that is the Midas touch. So that is a proper adjective. Now we have a compound adjective. Like you have compound nouns, we have compound adjectives also. They are composed of two or more words, two or more adjectives. Sometimes these words are hyphenated. So the proper nouns are combined together and formed compound nouns. But a compound adjective need not be joining together of two adjectives. It can be any words. Any words can join together to become an adjective, a compound adjective. So it is a word composed of two or more words. For example, landmark. Land is a noun. Mark is also a noun. But when they combine into a landmark, it can be used as an adjective, a compound adjective. Landmark decision. So landmark means a very important decision. So the joined new word has no relation to the original word. Original words അതൊക്കെയാണ് ലാൻഡും മാർക്കുമാണ്. ലാൻഡ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ സ്ഥലം, മാർക്ക് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരു മാർക്ക്. ഈ landmark, when they join together, has a new meaning. A landmark decision means a very important decision, a turning point, something that seriously affects somebody. So a landmark decision. It is a landmark decision to conduct exams by the online mode. So it is something that seriously impacts a very which is a turning point. അതിന് അങ്ങനത്തെ ഡിസിഷൻസിനെയാണ് ലാൻഡ്മാർക്ക് ഡിസിഷൻ. നല്ലതാവാം, നെഗറ്റീവായിട്ടും ആവാം, രണ്ട് രീതിയിലാവാം. ബ്ലാക്ക് ആൻഡ് ബ്ലൂ മാർക്ക്. It is a combination of black and blue. So you have three words there joined together. It is combined. Hometown hero. A hero who belongs to his hometown, who is a hero in his hometown. But when we have adverbs ending in ly, we do not use hyphen when we have the compound adjectives. For example, newly painted is an adjective which uses the adverb newly and painted. It's painted is a verb. The adverb newly and painted verb. These adverbs and verbs are joined together to form a compound adjective. So newly painted is a compound adjective. Mural is a noun. So the newly painted qualifies the mural. Sickly sweet odor. Odor is smell. And deodorants. Deodorants is something that nullifies the bad smell in us. Sickly sweet. Sickly is an adverb. Sweet is an adjective. Sickly sweet is a combining together of these two words. Sickly sweet is a compound adjective. Recently purchased the house. Recently purchased is a compound adjective. I think it is clear. Is it clear? You understand this? Are you able to follow this?
Yes, sir.
So I think we had a huge load today with too many difficult terms coming into the picture. I think we'll stop for today. We will take up the next topic in the next class. Before we stop, I have to tell you that we are getting into the end of the second module. We are almost finishing half of the portions now. So we have to go through. Please go through the portions that we already discussed. And if you have any questions, please put it up in the classes or through the Google Classroom or anywhere. There is a stream in Google Classroom. You can type in your questions, your queries there. So that would be a good idea. If you have any questions, you can always ask. We may not be able to repeat all these things later because it will be time for the exams. When we have the real actual face-to-face classes, we don't know when that will happen. Whenever that happens, it will be quite late for us because the exams will be very close by then. So in the meantime, you can go through. It is not very difficult. Ours is not a very difficult topic at all. But in case somebody finds it difficult, you are welcome to ask questions. So this is all for today. We will continue in the next session. Have a nice day. Goodbye.